Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. If you'd like to unmute yourself, you may do so. This is Marsha.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. It's good to see you.
Good to see everybody here. So far, so good.
Great to see everybody.
So if you don't mind writing your name in the chat and the name of the interest group that you represent, that'd be great. I always have a trouble with co-coordinator, 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 co-coordinator. Spell it wrong, funny things. So I see Delia is here representing NNLEI, okay, and Nicole is here representing materials for writing.
They were interested in a rap session or something more formal, but they didn't have anything that they wanted to present. So because I'll be moving within the next month, I thought I would probably just leave it with a rap session. That sounded like something that I could deal with better with my schedule. So I also asked them about times that they preferred, and I sent in my proposal, and that was that.
Okay, so great. So as I see it, you plan to have it on July 10th from 3 to 4 p.m. What day of the week is July 10th?
It's a Friday, so there was actually more preference for weekdays than Saturday. So I chose that, and it looked like more afternoon. So it was just based on what everyone said, and I'm hoping to do it.
People responded.
What's that?
There were three responses.
Yes, based on 3 plus myself.
Sample. Okay. All right, good. All right, well, as far as I know, there is no conflict with that date and time. So I'll go ahead and schedule it. And you include a description of your meeting. Okay, as a wrap session. Okay, and if you wish to flesh out the description, because what I see right now is during this wrap session, we will discuss ideas for creating and sharing online materials.
And I wasn't sure if you wanted a description of 20 words or 100, so.
Okay, that's a fair thing. In my head, it was sort of like 50-ish. But
okay.
What I was also thinking of is how are you going to attract people to come? And so sometimes when we put just a short sentence, people will go like, okay, well, what is that all about? Maybe if you have anything else to say, you could just go back and edit your response. You should have, right? You got a response that said, this is what I posted, and then you should have it.
And I can edit, yes.
Yeah, if you edit that, then I just think it could possibly be more attractive.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was who it was intended for exactly. And I was planning on doing something more for my people when I send out the announcement. Will you be sending out the announcement, or do we do that?
So here's what I'm going to do. What I've been doing so far, like what we already have on Dean Gage and Julie Goldman are doing something for the K-12 group. And they also want to try to do something on a regular basis, but they're starting out with one idea. And then I said, okay, well, flesh out your other ideas and I'll help you with it. So I have put them into the calendar, and so if you look at the homepage, you should be able to see that there's all of this stuff on the right side, upcoming engagements, or the upcoming events on the website. And so when you click on that, it will open up into something that gives you more details. So let me just see, for example, I'm going to share that screen that looks like this, I think. Okay, so on the upcoming events, we have, yeah, I changed around the front page of it. And so here we've got our annual conference, our state conference, and then all the upcoming events are here. So when you click on any of these, then they should give you more ideas about what's going on. So here's a virtual workshop, and that one's not, oh no, that one I told them they need to put more into the description. This one, I think, okay, yeah, so here's one that, this is online teaching group, and actually they together, Ingrid Greenberg together with some other people like Margie Wald, who is the co-chair of the annual or state conference. They're putting together something that's a long-term, more like a workshop. You have to go several times, and then you'll also do a project. And so your culmination is going to be at the state conference. So this is a more involved kind of thing because this is online teaching, and this is like how to develop your courses and some tips on that. So that's on the calendar when you can see all the different dates of that. Oh, this is the event that that the K-12 people put up. So again, I said, okay, we need to make this a little fleshed out. So this is what I put here. In this case, they want people to read something, and I put a link to it. And then based on what at that time was kind of chatting with her. So I said, based on what you've told me, this is what I'm putting up. Does that sound good? And she said, that sounds fine. So I would actually prefer it if you write it, and then I could give you, some input on it, so that I don't have to write everybody's thing. I know you guys know how to write. So then they also just put this information in, and they decided that it's going to be free for members and $5 for non-members. And so everybody in the world can look at this. And where it is broadcast depends on kind of like on you, right? And your social network. We also have some people who've done flyer thingies, and so like this is the Orange County one. So Bentley, who is, I guess not here, but he's my assistant. He is one of the speakers there, and he's also into graphics. So he made the poster and he made the flyer, and so then I could put it up here. Right. So if you do something like that, then I can add it to our banner of advertisements. And then, that could be another thing that shows up on this. All right. So if it's a wrap session, then it's probably a little bit different, obviously, than something that is more formal in terms of workshops, but it will appear here. It used to be that the upcoming events, there were like only a space for 3. And I said, well, that's not enough. We're going to I want this to be really charged up. So I'm going to make this space, I'm going to put something over here eventually, but I wanted to show as many workshops as possible so that we can do that kind of advertising at least, right? And then I assume that we can also include some stuff to go onto the Katisal Facebook site. We have our Nancy Kwong Johnson is our social media coordinator. And so she puts things up on 3 platforms, which are Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And so, like if we give her stuff, she'll put it out, right? We give her content, then she can either take our blurbs and put them out, or else she can make them into something, like if you give her enough information, she might be able to do that. I also know of a few other people who are able to and willing to do some graphics work, so I will ask them if, here's another thing. If you want to do a video clip that introduces what you're doing, Ondine made a promotional, like a few seconds long kind of a thing, which we will put up too. I mean, she sent that out to her people, but I also want you guys to think of that your people are not necessarily enclosed in the group the way we used to think of it, because now our people are everyone. You know what I'm saying? Who came to the conference? it wasn't just CATISA leaders, 50% CATISA leaders and 50% outside of the organizations. Why? Because they learned about it online. You know, we've broadcasted, we advertised it, we proselytized CATISA everywhere. I'm going to be doing that this weekend at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, which is 10 a.m. in New York, or, you know, on the East Coast. And people from Japan are going to be there, and what. And we're going to be reporting on how CATISA as an organization has pivoted and what things we've done in terms of our workshops and what we can share that others can learn from. So we're doing a lot of this sort of a thing, and in doing that brings our name out. So where we may have thought of our interest group is like this little teeny microcosm, it's really, it can be bigger. We can make it bigger, right? So it doesn't have to be a small, you could keep it small just for a while. I mean, one thing that Jadine and I talked about when we said, well, what are we gonna do for teaching and pronunciation? We thought, well, maybe we'll just start out with a rap session. So that's what we're planning to do, and kind of, I think July 10th is a really appropriate day, because I think that's the date we chose to. But maybe we'll do a morning or brunch time thing instead of an hour.
Yeah, we suggested 11 a.m. for us.
Yeah, so that's not a conflict in time.
Okay.
And, you know, maybe we'll get some of the same people, and maybe we won't. But hopefully, what we want to do is like kind of try it out and see if, when people are sort of more face to face, it's easier to talk about what they're interested in. Because, you know, Jadine put out our little poll. We had a poll too, and how many people we got is the same as you, 3, right? So in our large sample of 3, anyway, we do have some ideas for content-based sessions, but we thought maybe if we saw people in an informal session first, that we could get a better sense. It's our idea that we're you know, we're gonna try out. So this one's not based on a reading like the one that the K-12s are gonna do, but, you know, based on our own ideas and sharing some stuff that we have and seeing whether we can pull something out of the other folks. Right, Jadine?
That's right. I think like that's our biggest challenge at the moment is people just want to be passive participants. Like they want to be listeners, but they don't want to have to discuss. They just want to see your blog post. Like they basically want us to do everything, and then they can just reap from that. And so I think that's the biggest challenge. And that's why we want to try and get people together, is to, you know, take them away from just being passive and let's get them to be more active and involved.
Yeah, so we'll give it a try.
We will.
At the same time, I think they really want to come away from the meetings with something tangible. And so I like the idea of maybe having something more organized and planned, so that people see, okay, at the end of this, not only are we going to be brainstorming ideas, but we're also going to come away with something that can be very useful. So I will give that some more thought.
Yep, great. Okay, who else would like to share about what you have done or what you're trying to do or what you've decided to do? Anybody? Don't be shy.
Okay, yeah, I could go.
Okay, good. Okay, Zaya.
I'm Zoya. I'm a co-coordinator of non-native teachers. And actually what we've already done, we've tried to create a post and to encourage our group, but we've created a poll and offered, well, again, what kind of ideas, well, people have. We've asked them to share, but we haven't received any replies. Actually, our deadline is the upcoming Wednesday, well, 24th, just we're still waiting. But in case, yeah, but in case we don't get anything, we are discussing with Paula, that is our second co-coordinator. We're discussing what we could do. We have some ideas, but we're not 100% sure what kind of session is gonna be, but it would be definitely a rap session. Yeah, not some kind of well, webinar. What else? And actually, that is one of my greatest concerns. I've already shared that idea with you, Masha. Actually, there are about, I should say, 500 people on our listserv. I mean, Google Groups, and only about 100 here. As far as we don't post there, how can we reach those people? We are trying. We're currently updating our Facebook page, and just, yeah, you know about that. We're trying to add posts and current information on TESOL issues. But again, great amount of people are there, and we cannot communicate as far as we do not use our listserv, I mean our Google Groups. Maybe again, what kind of ideas could we brainstorm, or should we just post right there? And here, in order to attract new members or some kind of bouncing members, what should we do? Because a lot of people, maybe they would like to participate, but as far as they are not TESOL members, they do not get that information. They simply don't know about that.
So when you're on Facebook, your Facebook group, are you an administrator of the Facebook group?
Yeah.
And you got that recently from previous administrators?
Yeah, we're trying to update and to add current issues. Yeah, but again, not many people, around 40 followers, I mean, Facebook group. But again, our previous, I mean, Google group, it was really huge. How to reach those people out? The question is.
So the Google group was like the Facebook in that it was open, or even more so, it was open to anybody. There was no control on being a member.
Yeah.
Whereas in our own member group, the 110 people who have opted into the non-native language educators issues group are all members.
Right.
You have to be.
Right.
And in Facebook, then are you a page or a group?
So
You know the difference between a page and a group?
Yeah.
Does everyone know the difference between a page and a group? I can't hear you. Your heads are
Nope.
louder.
I only know what a page is, a Facebook page, not a Facebook group. But I think I do have a few groups, so I could probably guess, but tell me directly.
So as far as I know, a Facebook page is kind of like a one-way outgoing. We post, we post, and people can maybe like them or make a comment, but they can't participate actively in it. When Top first went online to Facebook, another previous co-coordinator, opened a page, and what I found was that it was one-way. It was like you're supposed to. I think it's like good for the businesses maybe who want to, like, say, here's our new product, here's our new thing, and blah, 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 that sort of thing. It's one way, and try to get people to just look at it. But if you want to have engagement, a group is better, because that allows people to make their own posts and they show up. So if you're on a page, like TESOL is a page. So even though I want to post something there, I can't, because it's a page. So when I want to post something on TESOL, I have to go outside of TESOL, or I have to go into the contact us, and I say, okay, you guys, here's something really important that you should be on our page. And then the person who's in the administrator has to take that and go like, oh, just stick it in, right? Or else I have to go find them on Gmail and say, hey guys, put this up, this is new, blah, blah, blah. And so it's awkward if you want to have a group that's not really a group. So then I opened a group And I put the other one, I've made a banner on the other one that said, if you want to participate in a group, go to that page, you know, and that I kept that banner up there for a good long time. And then I closed the group. I closed the page so that hopefully people traveled over to the group. So then in a group.
So we've got people from all over that are doing that. So I think we had 80 people sign up.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. So it's an online course. It's asynchronous, which is good, but it's very heavily like listening and speaking. So we had to go out and get a whole lot of recordings done. And it's, you know, specifically with, you know, units that are at the scene. So we've got like arriving at the scene, leaving the scene, different medical emergencies, you know, pain and assessment questions they'd have to ask and things like that. So that much just took all of my time. I was trying to juggle teaching as well as doing this. So it was crazy. So we're now down to the final 2 units, which is nice. So
how many units? 8 units?
We did 10 units. But
10 units. And
yeah.
are you a Spanish speaker?
I am a Spanish speaker.
Uh-huh. And you're doing it with another Spanish speaking?
Yeah, so so my colleague's not Spanish speaking, she only knows basic stuff, but I'm very good friends with a medical interpreter.
Oh, good. So you have your consultant.
Yeah, so we had that, and we also consulted with an emergency responder to find out what kind of things we should even be including in it and everything. So we're really happy with it. So
that's great.
Yeah, we're happy with how it turned out. It was just busy. How about you? I've seen you've been very busy with Catisol and everything. So
I think Catisol has taken over my life now.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, no, I must say, I'm taking care of my elderly parents.
Yep.
I'm doing more than I ever did before because when they were holed up, they disintegrated almost.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
And I used to go there a couple times a week. So then I stopped going, and it was really, really bad for them emotionally, socially, physically. They couldn't even walk to the bathroom without feeling, I mean, they were falling down. And why are they falling down? Because their muscles are not working.
Yeah.
So the director, well, he recognizes that I know, like I'm a frequent person to come. And so he set me up as an essential worker.
Oh, good.
And so he said, he must have put into the higher ups at the corporate level or wherever to be allowed to come in every day and, go through the same checks that everybody else has to do at the door. And that has been really, really good. Because now, like instead of feeling like there's no reason to get out of bed because why should I live anymore? I'm like, so I'll see you tomorrow?
Yeah, you're coming.
And it's really good. And I'm helping them with therapy. I mean, I'm exercising them. I just sit down and get them ready, move their food away. Because they get their meals. Their meals are served to them. So they don't even walk to the dining hall anymore. They used to walk to the dining hall 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And now they don't do anything but sit on their butt.
Oh.
So, because there's no reason to get up and go because you're not allowed to. You're not allowed in your apartment, you're not allowed to walk in the hall. And if you have any incident of any kind, then you're on quarantine for 2 weeks. And then because one is on quarantine, the other one is also because they're related. So that was all going on, a couple of trips to the ER because, slip, fall, unwitnessed falls are like, okay, we got to send you to the ER.
Yeah.
This is not a good thing. So since I've been going every day, or at least 5 days a week, sometimes 6, then, I have them do exercises and we do a lot of stuff and they're getting healthier. And then on Friday, when I left them and then I went downstairs and the director said, oh, you're allowed to take them home. I said, are you sure you'll let me actually take them to my house? And I said, yeah, all these precautions, don't have more, So I did. Yesterday was Father's Day, so I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring them home. We sat out in the backyard. I only invited 2 other people, my nephew, who's one of the grandchildren, and his mom, my sister-in-law. And, they all came in their masks and everything, and they took their masks off only when we ate. And, all of this, safe handling sort of a thing. So that was very good, and I'm happy with that. So I spent most of my time doing that, caring for them. not counting all the paperwork that has to be done for them because they're not able to, to do
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And then I spent a lot of time in my garden. My garden is so cool.
Nice.
Like, a lot of really, really great stuff. So that, and then Katisal, those all like, so this week I didn't do Katisal and I have people hammering on me. Like,
Oh, really?
I wonder if you didn't get my message. And I thought, oh, you know what? I saw somebody else saying I'm taking a break from Katisal on the weekend. And I thought, yeah, she's just like me, having been just go, go, go.
Yeah, and you need
Especially,
break.
especially because of all the conferences and all that stuff we're
Mhm.
doing, just getting set up. And it's the more I do, the more I'm asked to do. And then
Mhm.
I'm also interested in doing it because I know it helps the organization, and I know everybody else is so busy just trying to pivot to remote and doing all these extra things like you're doing. I know
Yeah.
it's really hard to ask other people, like I took on the job of webmaster because the person who was doing it before, I mean, like, she has to do a PhD. Hello, she has to write a thesis. Is that enough? She's a 2-year-old kid.
Oh
And she's
god,
taking 4 classes as a professor at the university, and I'm going,
that's a lot.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's really a lot. So I
Mhm.
figure, if I'm capable, I'm doing it. And I'm just considering each of these obstacles that I meet with using Memberleap. I try to
Mhm.
say it's a challenge.
A challenge.
Challenges. How I feel on the inside, right? Why are you
Right.
telling me this stupid stuff doesn't work? And you keep
Mhm.
giving me the wrong code, and I put it in, and 8 days later, we still have not been able to center the photograph. I gave you the wrong code, and I gave it to you another wrong code, and then
Yeah, that's
so I'm like, practice my breathing, in through the nose, through the mouth.
check it at the door. Yep.
So I do all that stuff,
Mhm.
and it's helpful. So,
Yeah. No, I
and
think
in the end, it'll be better. So for us, for Top,
yes.
what I was thinking, I want to hear what your thoughts are, if you have any ideas, or maybe what we could start out with is just a free-for-all kind of a tea, margarita, coffee break, just to have people come and BYOB and have a chit chat, and then
Okay.
have a afterwards come up with something, because one of the things that I was thinking about is intonation is on that on the thing, and one of the things is like a lot of teachers do not hear intonation because it's a training that they never get. Nobody
Yeah.
got
No.
Nobody got training in how to hear intonation. So I thought,
Mhm.
well, maybe in this little environment, we could do something like that.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds good because it's definitely one of the ones they clicked as, oh, we'd love to learn.
Yeah, right. Stress, intonation,
Um,
rhythm was up there.
I'd be curious to see what would happen with the chit chat and who would actually log on. Like, I think as an informal chit chat would be a good idea to, in a way, to just suss out who the people are and what their interest level is. Because as I've been reading like the past survey and just like looking at it, what it seems to be a lot of is people want to be passive participants rather than active participants. And so the ones that they were choosing, like, oh, we'd love like to see the blogs or the websites. It's basically you give us the information, but don't make me start a discussion or something like that. That's what I'm noticing. And so if we had the little informal chit chat, we can see, is that, like what they are, like, are we wanting, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful. And what I think would also be helpful is that because you and I will know some people who we can ping independently,
Mhm.
privately, and I'll say, like, can you be here? Can you just like log in at this time? We're trying to get something going.
Yeah. And I've been trying to encourage all of my students to join Consult and things like that. So I've been really strongly doing that. And I think I know at least one definitely did. And there's another one I'm saying, like, you guys are at the student membership rate, like, get onto this.
Yeah, because especially when we had at the conference, didn't even go to the conference and you had that special rate. I mean, like, go to the conference and get a free.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I had because she was originally going to help me with the Central Regional Conference, and then obviously that all changed. But I made her project based on, like, she was interested in professional development. So her project was based on that. And so I actually made her attend those Zoom meetings that you guys held. Made that a requirement. So she should definitely be on. So I could ping a couple of the students.
Did you attend the conference?
I actually didn't get the chance to. It was.
No, I know. A lot of people were just like crazy at the end.
Yeah, it was just those days where I had back-to-back meetings, and there was just nothing I could do about that.
Now, you said you were maybe thinking about something. What topic do you think you might want to do?
See, that's what I'm trying to work out, because it's been a while since I've done pronunciation stuff.
Okay, but how about anything related to, it doesn't have to be that particular thing, but you were talking
that's kind of what I was thinking. There's like a couple of things. I could look into some of like the drama-based things. I've also been talking to my friend where he's looking at trying to see if he can get drama-based activities online as well. So there's some, like, I could at least talk about some of that stuff that you could do for like minimal pairs when you are able to go back to being face-to-face. Another thing that we've kind of done before is our check it at the door, which is like social emotional learning for us. And so it's kind of just what you were saying with how you do your breathing exercises and things like that. And so just leaving things at the door. And so I guess we're all in this very stressful environment. And so just kind of that idea of going back to mindfulness.
Yeah.
And so that was like, that's a presentation that I've done at the COTISOL, the COTISOL over in Colorado. And my colleagues have presented it at COTISOL. So I was like, maybe we could do something like a mindfulness. So those are a couple of ideas that I have that I could potentially do as well. So I'm kind of just trying to brainstorm what I've got.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because I've done a couple of mindfulness kinds of presentations. One of them was for the U.S. I mean, I did it at COTISOL and also forgot where else, and also for the U.S. Department of State when I was over in Thailand.
Yeah.
And all of those things will be quite helpful in our times like now.
I think so, because we are coming into stressful times, and we get to, we bring our emotions with us.
Well, you know what, actually, another thing is what we could do too, Jadine, is we could try and think, because, for the annual conference, we could think about doing a session like that. I think that would be really cool. Yeah. And what we could do is kind of test it out in our little thingies here in our summer Zoom-ins.
Yeah.
Try out some ideas, because to do it. Hi. Hi, Jadine.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. How
Are
about
you doing okay?
I'm surviving, not thriving.
Yes, okay. Well, are you doing school stuff or not?
Yes, so we finished for the semester, but when the pandemic broke out, our Center for Continuing and Global Education approached my colleague and I to create a Spanish course for emergency responders.
That sounds good.
That was to be free to all emergency responders.
Yes. Kara. Hi, Kara. You're right down. You typing in?
Yes, I'm here, and I'm the research interest group.
You can type it in. Type.
Oh, sorry. I'm on my phone. Let me try to see if I can type it in there. Hold on. Let me see if it'll let me type. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm gonna, for some reason my phone is awkward. I'm on another call on my computer. Let me swap around and I'll get on my computer and type it in.
Okay, all right.
Kara, Kara, would you prefer to have me just type it in for you?
Sure. Thank you very much. That would be great. And I'm gonna try to mute because we have a little bit of, what do you call it?
Feedback.
Yeah, background.
Okay, all right. So you can type it yourself, or you can have a minion do it for you.
I'll be the minion, but Kara, just remind me what interest group. I think you're coordinator, but I'm not sure the interest group.
Yes, it's research writers.
Research writers, okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's research writers or academic research writers, something like that, the formal name. It's about research.
Well, I already
Research is
put it
right
in
up
the
my-
chat, and I put it under research writers coordinator.
Perfect.
I can.
Okay, that's so very cool. That's very good. And what else have we got? We've got Jadine. You want to type your name in there so we have it in our chat, in our record? Well, I want to thank you all for coming today. Each day we have some same people and some new people who are able to join us. You'll recall that in our last meeting, our main topic was about how we can gather more engagement with the people that we are coordinating and the group that on our topic. So we propose that we have some summer Zoom room engagements with the groups. And what I talked about was how these could be informal or formal as you like. So far we have gotten a few proposals and it's coming along. And I wanted to check in with everybody to see whether anybody needs help, or you can make it either open. That means anybody can join if they're on Facebook, or you can make it closed. That means they have to ask permission to be in it. So, and there's some that are like searchable. People can find out that you have a pronunciation group and then they can ask if you can come in. And then there's also ones that are private, which means nobody would find it except for the people that you personally invite. So the top group is open for people to see. And at the beginning, a previous coordinator let everybody up, let everybody in. And actually, that's one thing I should talk to Jane about, whether we should let anybody in or not. I decided that maybe it would be good to have a few questions. So Facebook groups allows you to post a few questions that you can ask those who request entry. So I posted 3 questions, like, are you a CATISA member? Do you teach pronunciation? Because, there's some people who kind of like just bomb into places without really having an interest in this particular topic. And then they insert their own personal stuff, which I really kind of didn't want. So I asked that, and I then said something about, I asked questions about teaching. And so a lot of people will answer the question, then I go, okay, sure, you can get in. Even if they're not a CATISA member, maybe because they teach pronunciation in Ireland, or, in Denmark, or in South America or something, and whatever. It seems like, they are interested in really the idea of learning and teaching pronunciation. And then the people who don't answer me anything, and I don't let them in. I figure like, okay, if those 3 questions are too hard for you to answer or approach or anything, then maybe you're just group hopping, right? So anyway, that's how I've handled it so far. So there are a few people in queue who, and Facebook keeps reminding me, so-and-so asked to get in, so-and-so asked to get in. And I'm going like, okay, did they answer the questions? And so I don't know, Jadine, maybe you have something to say about whether we should let him in or not.
I don't know, that's probably something to discuss and see, because I can see like the advantages of letting anyone in, but then you do want to monitor and control that a little bit. So I think as long as they answer, like I agree, they don't necessarily have to be a CATISA member, we just encourage them to become a COTISO member. But like we do want to try and like, I see the groups as a good way of getting more people to become members. So it's a way to like reach out and gather that interest. But at the same time, you do have to be careful with like random people bombing things and things like that. So.
Okay, let me challenge you to go to the people who are looking at our site and the people who are on the request list, and you can take a look and maybe you want to answer the questions.
Yep, I will do.
What
that.
about what about TEL? So TELIG is another one that's a very active group. Suzanne, want to talk about TELIG?
Yeah, so you want to talk about what we're planning to do or about the—
Oh yeah, let's talk about that and then we can talk
okay.
about
So like everyone else, I sent out a Google form requesting what are people interested in doing for this summer. I got 7 responses.
Woo-hoo! Well,
yeah.
You said that yours earlier. That's good.
Yeah, and so it's been a little bit 50-50 in terms of some people prefer, as Jadine mentioned, about having someone spoon feed the information, having like a webinar or a presentation, and the other half, they want to do a wrap session. And I did ask in terms of the questions, is anyone interested in leading a discussion or leading a presentation? And only 2 people. So it's almost like, okay, well, I will try to contact these 2 people, but otherwise,
more than ours.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. I have to look through it more carefully in terms of when people are available and when people can do things. And then I'll try to write something up in the form of what we're going to do.
Yeah, good.
So for TELIG, in terms of being active, so we do have the group and the page, and right now—
Group and a page?
Yeah, so we have a TELIG group and then a TELIG page. So I don't really see any big difference in terms of engagement. Maybe it's just the way we've been doing things. Right now, I'm the only one doing it, so I have to put whatever I'm posting on the page, I have to make sure I'm posting it on the group. Right now, but what I'm thinking about doing is looking more carefully about how do we add people into the group, because right now we don't ask any questions, and I'm starting to think that that's what we should do, because sometimes I would get very random requests, and the only way I can decide if I let them in is I have to look at their page and see whatever they have on their page. Are they in California? Are they an instructor? And so I have to make that judgment call of what would be the best thing to do. But I'm thinking, from my experience trying to join other Facebook groups, more and more the moderators are starting to ask, please fill out this questions, like, who are you? What's your experience? And so on. So that way they can approve if you're in or not in. So that's something I may try to do in the future.
So let me ask you, do you see a benefit in having both a page and a group?
At this moment, no, because I'm not seeing really any difference. But again, it depends on whoever is running the page. I think a group could be great if you have someone who is able to promote discussions or encourage the discussions among people. But right now, I don't really see any major difference, because it seems like right now it's just me posting the material, and then some people comment or they would like things, but I don't see, maybe a few people would say, oh, I found this article, or I listened to this podcast, but it's not as frequent. So I think it depends on if I can get someone else to help me with being the one in charge of the group, that would help a lot.
Okay, I felt the same thing as you're talking about. I have to take this, post it in the group, take that, post it in the page. And I was like, okay, why am I doing this? Okay, so a group is like a page except for more. So that's why I said, okay, page, we're going to put you down for a nap.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still there, and I can resurrect it if I want to, but
Right.
Every time I go there, I go like, nah, I don't think so, because a page is like a page can only do this and a group can do exactly the same things, except for you could have more, you get interaction.
Right.
So why not just keep it to the group? And then you will cut
Okay.
your work in half, and maybe it won't seem as, like fruitless. Because really, I don't see anything about a page that will garner interaction. It doesn't. It's not designed to do that. It's the best pages, or the pages seem to be best for promoting one-way stuff. And here we are complaining that people aren't interacting with us. So what we need to do is make sure the platform that we have is a platform that they can interact with. Because if they even try to put a like or a comment on a page, it doesn't get posted there as a, the way it does on a group. On a group, when people post, then there's sort of more democracy in terms of having people's words and posts come up. And so there are other people who post to the top group who, post stuff that's, it's nobody, knock wood, has posted anything inappropriate, which I'm glad to say. But I have seen on other Katisal sites, maybe not monitored very well, that their stuff has gone in crazy stuff. So another thing about Facebook, anytime any of us want to open or create or update our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, any of our social media sites, we do have a style guide. So some people are aware of it and some people are not. And the style guide requires us to use, first of all, if we're using the logo, we have to use a logo that is current. Now, the TEL and the NNLE are using old logos, which is not right. And you need to learn how, I have to show you, or somebody has to tell you where to get the logos for Katisal of today. So the old logo included Nevada, which it wasn't always part of Katisal, but they needed a mommy or a sibling to take care of them for a while. And so we did. And then they didn't do anything for a while. So they fell off. And it was at least 2 years ago that they left us, or we said, well, you're not here anymore, so we won't continue to feed you. And I believe they started their own affiliate, which is probably appropriate. Our current logo, which you will see on the Katisal site, has just California without Nevada, and that's the logo that we should all use. The other thing is there are 2 colors, which are official colors, and there's also fonts that are official fonts. Some of the thing we can't do too well is control any of the fonts that come out already, default on the platforms. One thing I can do to help is to help you with your banner. 2 years ago, I created some banners that were to be used for Facebook, and then we did not put them out. So like Top doesn't have it until, Susan and I were working, I showed these to Susan 2 years ago, and we said, yeah, we should go with those, but we should wait until we finally officially have Katisal not include Nevada. So that has happened, and then the matter is just getting the graphics together. So that, I told Zoya that, I would help with getting the Facebook banner. Just as also the webmaster, and it turns out that I'm also doing events and calendar and a few other things in Katisal that I haven't gotten around to the graphics, but that is on the list of things to do. Is there another, I only know of those few Facebook groups, the Top, the TEL, NLE, Is there another one? Okay, well, if one becomes, one comes into being or needs to come into being, then I will also make you a banner. Let's see, does anybody else want to share about what you've been doing, trying to do, or have plans for engaging your peeps?
This is Kara. I can just
Hi, Kara.
not happening. So research writers was initiated or put together through a group of individuals, and we got approved by the board. But then that individual had stuff going on, and as soon as it was approved, it became nothing. Another member and I revived it, turning something that we had done kind of in our own little world as a research writing group, tried to connect it to Katiso, and we revived the group. That was probably a year ago this time that it was revived officially. So it exists for 2 years. First year was inactive. Second year, pretty much inactive. What we're having trouble for, my co-coordinator actually probably won't be involved this year just because of things going on in her life, but we're having trouble actually getting people either to know that we exist or to engage. For those that we have on a member list that was originally provided to us from the initial person that organized the interest group, we've been trying to do like writing challenges, like at the end of the year, you know, like little online sort of writing blurb groups, or maybe designing a research question, like little parts of what writing a larger article is about, but to sort of create a community of practice that's just there. But I'm not sure, but I'm looking for some ideas. I'm thinking that because writing is normally a very independent thing, and people have their own sort of things. Some people write a little bit every day. Some people only write when they need to bang out an article, all these sort of things. I'm looking for ideas that maybe could be our next engagement. Maybe it's the Zoom summer thing, that we have a topic, something to bring members together, even if it's just a small community practice of 6 or 8 people. That would be good if they're active 6 or 8 people. There's my story. Anybody get some ideas? So just to tell you what we did a writing challenge at the end of the year, like an online writing challenge through, I think we did a Facebook page, but it wasn't a Kautiso page. We just used a general page. And then we did like designing a good research question. What actually are the components of thinking that out? Neither of those really worked. Basically, me and my co-coordinator were the ones trying to get everybody going and nobody engaged. Any ideas from you guys? Nope.
Well, let's see.
I mean, if you
have,
don't have ideas now, that's okay.
Yeah, wait a minute. Somebody's got an idea.
well,
Okay, but-
maybe Kara, I can email you also.
That's what I was gonna say. If you don't have an idea right now and you're just wandering around and like on Thursday something comes, basically you can find me obviously in Memberleap. I'm the only Kara, I'm not the only Kara actually. MacDonald. In this group, I'm not the only Kara. So MacDonald is the last
One
name.
of 3 that I
Yes,
know of
exactly.
personally.
In another academic group, I am the only Kara. In another academic group, I am the second one. So this one, yes, there are 3. Sorry. So yeah, just send me something, because sometimes these things have to ruminate. We're just trying. So that's the idea. And that's all. That's my situation.
Well, I will definitely email you, and the same goes for ideas for the materials writers group. If there's anything that you think this group should be doing, I welcome those ideas. Again, my membership is more passively participatory, and so any ideas that you would have, I would love to hear.
Well, that's great for you to offer to share with one another ideas, because all of us need ideas and ways. I also feel that probably people are overwhelmed. Do you get that feeling? That we have good people and everybody's doing more than they were doing before and doing it differently than ever before. And they may just feel like, I can't sign up for one more thing. Is that possible?
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I know there are really capable people in our organization. I mean, you know, we've got tons of really capable people among our colleagues. So I guess one of the things that I might say is, in addition to a general elicit, you know, where you're asking the whole class, anybody have questions? And they'll go like, oh God, you know, like not me, you know, is also, you know, I do think posting to your group is really good. And posting more often will get people the idea that you're serious about your topic. And the other thing is to tap on people's shoulders individually. So if there are individuals that you know of who have a particular skill or interest or, you know, expertise in a certain area, then you might do a personal appeal. Because that might be, you know, that's always different than just a blast that you know is going to 110 people. So that might engender greater participation. That's a possibility, right? So this kind of leads into another topic, which is finding your replacement. Okay, so this is going to be really interesting because generally speaking, we do at the state conference, we gather together with our peeps at the rep and the business meeting, and we sort of like rah, 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 and find somebody who can come on as an assistant and be an assistant kind of follower and learn the ropes and then take on the next year. So we're not going to be able to do that in a physical way this time. So that means, you know, like we still expect the process to be more or less like this. The assistant IG coordinator becomes the coordinator at the annual conference. I mean, that's what the typical move is. And that you need to identify the next assistant. So you need to search for someone, you need to invite someone, you need to persuade another IG member. Some of you are working as co-coordinators, and some people are more co than others, if you know what I mean. But in any case, you know, like if your co-coordinators want to keep going as a team, that's also a possibility. We don't do this as the whole membership, like when we vote for people on the board and it goes out to all the membership. So it's really more informal. And we used to, you know, like have our own little elections within a group, which usually meant, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Okay, everybody agree? You know, it's usually that sort of thing. And then some people who have they're interested and they've been involved and, you know, they have an interest in pursuing, not letting, you know, the interest group fall apart. So this is what you need to do, is to solicit people. And whether it's one or two kind of depends on you and your group. And I guess you're going to have to be more creative. I mean, we're all going to have to be more creative than we were in the past because we can't actually get that shoulder right here physically. We're going to have to find another way to interact with them, which could be by telephone or it could be by email or, you know, whatever kinds of ways. Maybe in these Zoom-ins that we have in the summer, we'll be able to sort of motivate people. So that's one of the things that we can try to do. So the conference is set for October 8th. So there's still some time. But in this time from now until then, do start thinking about who you can bring along. And as I said, if you want to keep on going, there's nothing to stop you from doing that. But you just probably want to be sure that it doesn't just fall through the cracks. That has happened to some of our interest groups. As we know from Kara, the group that she is coordinator of, the research writers, they kind of went down. And intercultural was a huge group. I mean, it has a lot of people who opted into it, but then that went down. And I helped to resurrect that by personally tapping on people. I went out and contacted a lot of people who I knew to be interested from previous posts and previous presentations that I'd done and stuff like. I just searched for everybody until I found a couple of people who said, oh, okay, I'll do that, and it was really good. So Rick Capra, who had been a coordinator in the way back, I don't know how many years ago, is on as an assistant to Kelly, who's in for now. And they only started like officially in like a month or two ago. So they will continue in that role because they really didn't have any chance to do anything this year before we went crazy. But just so you don't leave it empty. That has happened to a couple of chapters, which is sad. But I'm not the chapter chair, so I'm trying to stick with the interest groups. Nicole?
So when I came in, it was at Catisel, and I was asked to be the coordinator, and I said, sure, just let me know what I'm supposed to be doing, because I hadn't been involved with the interest group before, and I didn't really find out what I was supposed to be doing until we met the first time. I think that was in either late January or February. We had that first get together.
Yes.
And I feel like if I can find someone who says, yes, I've done this kind of thing before, I know, I want to be coordinator, that's great. But I don't have anyone who is even responding. So I feel like what I'm hoping for at this point is someone who would be an assistant,
Okay.
and then who could come in as coordinator after, because I feel like it was really difficult to come in and not have someone to be with me at the beginning. And so if I can find someone who can be with me and then allow them to slowly integrate into the coordinator position, I just feel like that would be easier, because the last couple of months, I've just been trying to think of ideas. What can I do? And haven't actually gone into the implementation stage yet.
Okay, I think that's fair. And I think under these unusual circumstances, that if we have more continuity, it'll be better than, to try to have something switch over. Did you go to the conference last year?
Yes, so that's when I went to the interest group, and the coordinator then said, you want to be coordinator, Nicole? Because there were like two of us at the meeting. And I said, sure.
So there were only two of you at the meeting. Oh, wow.
So I said, sure, let me know what I should be doing. And then the next I heard was when Bentley emailed me in January asking what we'd been doing. And I said, I don't know.
Yeah. Did you come to the breakfast? I had a breakfast on Saturday of the annual meeting.
No, I should.
Which was the first one we've ever done. I just said, we need to meet face to face, and that's when I said, we'll do breakfast.
Yeah.
Not everybody knew about it and got the message early enough, and it's hard because you raised your hand to say yes the night before.
Exactly, and then I didn't look through the program to see if there was anything that I should be doing at that point, and
of course not. Yeah, so that was hard, and that was, I think, why I suggested that we have a meeting in that winter. I said, Bentley, we need to do some online thing because obviously not everybody can go to the annual meeting, and some people are running around doing other stuff and they can't all make it. So let's try. That's why we tried to do that, and I think that was helpful, at least to.
Yes.
To talk with you about it and give you an idea of what we hope that will happen with IGs. And it's a lot about leadership, really. Like how we want to lead our groups and how we want to help other people become successful leaders of groups too. So it would be great if you continued on, and then if you're able to get other people at least one other person should be.
Well, yeah, and I think just also my goal would be to bring someone in as coordinator, but not to just say, there you go, but more to have it scaffolded.
Yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds like a really decent thing to do. Yeah. Okay, well, we've got some ideas about what we want to do for the summer. And so I suppose I'll be seeing some of your entries in the proposal box. And then I'll put together some of the calendar events. And as I said, you know, we'll help you promote if you give us material. Like if you put a flyer-like thing, or give me something that I can post in the the banner ad thing up at the front. There are specific pixel length and depth and all of that stuff. So if you're interested in that, I'll type it in here. So
That's actually a really good idea for me. Thank you. I'm going to take you up on that, Marcia. I think that would be a good way to re-raise interest, at least to remind people that my group is out there. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the pixel depth. So what's currently, what I'm currently put up is something that's 749 pixels wide. And I don't know why I didn't write wide. It's width, well, I think you'll probably know. It's width versus height. And leave a margin or something that you wouldn't mind being somewhat, there's a kind of a semi-transparent place for a caption underneath. So don't put anything terribly important at the very bottom, because if you want a caption, then that will end up covering it. So if you see what's already floating on there, you can see how much of it is covered up by a caption. So not all of them have them, but it doesn't obliterate it. It's semi-transparent. So that gives you an idea. And those, we can also use to put on our social media, to put it out. And since you have Facebook groups, if you do have one, then you can put it out there, or other groups that you belong to. So Kara, do you have other groups that are in this field that you post to?
No. It started off as a small, like Monterey-based writing group, and then we thought that we could expand it to Catiso, but the small group fell apart and the Catiso group never got going.
Oh, I see. Okay. All
so
right.
we're not, but posting, giving you something to help us advertise would be good, and at least kind of getting the word out that this thing exists. So I'll do a dialogue.
Then maybe it's sort of like materials writers group or research, whatever your group is.
Yeah.
That will be the big thing that's on there, and then like a little gathering thing, because maybe people don't even know that this is a thing that you're.
Yeah, just hey, email me. I'll put you on the list as a start. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All righty. Great. Any final comments, recommendations, questions, or think of anything else that I could do to help out? All right. Well, thank you very much for your attendance today. And I really appreciate all your effort. And I know it's quite difficult, but we're passionate about what we do. So we're accepting the challenges, right?
Thank you so much, Marcia. I know that you have a lot of meetings that you're juggling, but for me anyway, this is really helpful. It provides a lot of guidance and motivation. So this is keeping me going. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Great. Thank you so much. Great.
Marcia, I completely agree with Nicole. Thank you so much, because
You're
your
welcome.
meetings are very, very helpful. And thank you for your quick responses. In case we have questions, just you answer. I should say within a day. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your help. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And I just wish all success to all of us in engaging folks in our interest groups.